Hi guys, going to give it a minute or so to get people that are trying to get on some time to get on. So give it another 30 seconds or so. Okay guys, I'm going to start now. Welcome to your Facebook Live for those premium pubs. What we're going to go through today is a bit about the specs of Festive Fare on Christmas Day, a bit about nailing the perfect meal out of the kitchen, so through the meat, the roast potatoes, the veg, a bit about the stock taking process over Christmas, a bit about building up your stock and the order process, section on the vegan dishes on the menu, and a bit about the pre-order and how we're nailing the large tables. Obviously, the goal every year is to make it the best and biggest Christmas we can, and from my point of view, that is key. The key element to that is food, and the guys in the kitchen really delivering really good quality food all the time throughout the festive time and Christmas Day. So I'm just going to run through the specs. So those that have been premium last year, these are the same as last year, but for any new KMs or kitchen members or anyone new to their site or new to the brand, these are the specs. Again, you'll get all these sent out, but just going to run through them on the Facebook Live now. The first one is a Scottish smoked salmon. So that's 55 grams of the smoked salmon. Just making sure you're getting really good. Some shea butter, a bit of watercress, but just the main thing here is making sure you get a good coverage of the plate. The creamy wild mushroom soup. This is a one that you need to make back at house. The bulk recipe is in the spec book, but those who did it last year is really popular. The main thing here is just making sure you finish it off with the finer details. So the herb oil on the top and just a sprinkling of the exotic mushrooms to garnish. Next one is a cured duck and fig terrine. Again, making sure that this is done to spec. What you can do for your larger parties is pre-do this. So if you've got X amount of people coming in on a Friday or Saturday night, and 15, 20 of them are having this cured duck and fig terrine, to send out for speed of service wise, that really does make it a lot quicker and easier. Next one is a goat cheese roulade. These come in frozen, so there might be some still in your freezer. Really important that just do it from defrost with your salad dressing, your shea batter, and your cranberry sauce. But really important that you get everything on the plate and make sure it's got a nice plate coverage. The first main course is a boneless beef bourguignon. That is served with mashed potato, kale and roasted red onions, and on the top is some crispy shallot rings. Again, with this one is really key of getting the height to the dish. The beef bourguignon is a boil in the bag, so I would do it in your pasta boiler or steamer or whatever you have on the equipment wise in your kitchens. Hand carved turkey. So we've got on here, we've got 150 grams of turkey. We'll go through that in a bit further on, more detail. One of your pouches of turkey gravy, 50 grams of sprouts, 50 grams of parsnips, and 50 grams of thyme roasted carrots. Really important that we are thyme roasting the carrots. We are putting honey on the parsnips. Really does elevate the dish as well. It comes in one of your Yorkshire puddings and also 200 grams of your roast potatoes. The next one is the roasted cod line with sun-dried tomato and cheese and basil crumb. Really important that we get the elevation on this dish as well. So that's got the crushed new potatoes with rapeseed oil and dill, and on the spinach on underneath that as well. Really important that that's done with the elevation. The Bloody Mary bisque, the bulk recipe for that is also in the back of. Also, you need to buy the Bloody Mary ketchup for that as well. Veggie option, it's a butternut squash, spinach, and blue cheese gratin. So it's this one you have to make yourself. Make sure you are putting the mash on the top with some cheese, and really making sure you're getting a good grill on the top of that, so we get some color to it. And that's served with kale, 70 grams of kale, and 50 grams of red onions, roasted red onions. Next one is the dessert. So that's the Christmas pudding. Again, these are the ones that are already in the container. So in the microwave for 20 seconds individually. And that's served with the clotted cream and jambu sauce. Really important that we finish that off with red currants and the fresh mint and icing sugar. So making sure we are putting on the currants, the mint, and the icing sugar. Next one is the Kentish apple and mincemeat Bakewell tart. Icing sugar on top, the swirl of toffee sauce. Again, that's done from defrost in about 10 seconds in the microwave is sufficient. Next one is the Belgian chocolate and cranberry bundt cake. Again, this is from defrost, 30 seconds in the microwave, but it's really important that you don't overdo this one, because if you do it too long in the microwave, it will simply just disintegrate and just fall to pieces. And that is served with a chocolate pencil, just sort of broke into quarters and placed over the top. Other dessert, Christmas, is sticky toffee and clotted cream ice cream sundae. So that's served with 3 scoops of ice cream, and you get a salted caramel hazelnut kit and half a sticky toffee and date pudding. Really important that you just follow the spec on this one and just make sure it's presented correctly. So for Christmas Day, these are the starters, mains, and desserts. We'll just run through these again. So you're using the duck and fig terrine, but this has just got a few extra elements on it. So you've got the figs on there, and you've also got the crispy duck egg. So this is just for Christmas Day, but obviously you can pre-prep a lot of this. Making sure, again, that you pre-portion what you can. So the duck and fig terrine is cut pre-sliced, and can you get it on a plate ready for the larger tables. For the soup option is a celeriac and pear soup. Again, there's a bulk recipe in the back of the spec book of how this is made. Again, finishing off with your extra items of the herb oil and coriander cress. Slight elevation to the smoked salmon dish on the festive fairs, that we're adding a king prawn to it. So there's 3 of those king red prawns. Served with your Bloody Mary ketchup, and with half a lemon as well. But really important, again, with the plate coverage on this, making sure it's all spread evenly across the plate, and you're getting consistent plates out to the customers. Again, make really careful that we follow the spec on this and that all the ingredients are there. So got celery and baby cress, pickled fennel, roasted beetroot, and carrot and parsnips. Obviously, they've got sprinkling of the omega seeds, and with a honey and mustard cider dressing over the top. So your first main course is a 7-ounce 28-gauge fillet steak with wild mushroom and herb gratin. Again, we did this last year, but really important that you follow the build on this. From my point of view, the key element of this dish is the fillet steak. So you need to just revisit and making sure that we are nailing the steak process. So are we pre-seasoning the steaks? Are we resting the steaks before they're getting served? Really important, as this is the real showstopper of the dish, is the fillet. But also we are nailing the steak process. So the main one that you probably will sell on Christmas Day, the one you have the most pre-orders for, will be the hand-carved turkey and sticky marmalade glazed ham. So I'll go through the veg and the potato options on the next slide that we're using for the festive for the Christmas Day. But it's 100 grams of the sticky marmalade glazed British ham and 150 grams of the turkey breast. one pig and blanket, one of your gravy, and it's served with obviously your veg that we'll cover on the next slide. So there's two options on Christmas Day. You've got Christmas Day roast potatoes and veg, and one without the red cabbage, depending on which main course you have. But that will be indicated on your spec book. So for the Christmas Day, you've got 200 grams of your garlic and rosemary roasted potatoes, 75 grams of your 75 grams of your Brussels sprouts, 120 grams of your cauliflower cheese, and 75 grams of your thyme roasted carrots. So that is the same as the, and also you've got your red cabbage on this one, but on the other side, it'll be the option without the red cabbage. So your fish dish on Christmas Day is the roasted sea trout and king prawns. Again, that would be served with the side of the Christmas Day veg and potatoes, but you're using your Bloody Mary bisque, and your shredded kale goes on underneath, sea trout on top, and a prawn on two of the king red prawns on the side. Again, the trout is the main part of this dish, and the prawns are really getting those cooked well, so they're not overcooked. And really making sure you get the elevation with the kale underneath and really boost the dish up. Butternut squash, wild mushroom, and goat cheese gratin for this one. This is a veggie option, so it's really important. Again, as we said with the steak and with the sea trout, is the elevation to the dish. So it is a stack. So making sure you're following the right order you're doing it in. So it's 3 of the butternut squash rounds, and that's got layers in between of wild mushroom cream sauce, mushrooms, kale. So it's really important that you layer that in, and on top is the goat cheese roulade that you have from the starter. Christmas Day for the puddings, it's obviously the classic Christmas pudding. Again, it's those individual ones, so you just need to pop it out or in the microwave for 20 seconds. Or if you have a steamer and you know you've got 30 at a certain time, you could put it in a tray, cover it with cling film, put it in the steamer. Again, make sure we are putting the red currants on this, the icing sugar and the mint, and that is served with clotted cream and drambuie sauce. Next dessert is a lemon and stem ginger brulee cheesecake. Now, one of those, again, with 10 grams of raspberries and your lemon clotted cream posset sundae kit. You just have to put the 64 grams on, just dotted around the plates with the raspberries, and that is just finished off with some coriander cress. Belgium chocolate and hazelnut torte, again, making sure you are putting the right components on that. So you've got one of your torts, just make sure you finish it. A bit of creme fraiche and the coriander cress again. So this is slightly different from last year for the British and Irish cheese selection. That's an option on Christmas Day. So making sure that you are doing this, you are following the spec, all the weights and stuff on the spec book that you'll be receiving, and also on the guide I'll be sending out. It's really important that if you are doing this, we are giving out the correct amount. So just want to talk, well, we've gone through the specs, and I'll go through the vegan options in a bit, but the main thing for me, obviously we've done this last year, but it's all about delivering the main products on the plate really well. So obviously the key to most Christmas dinners, festive fare and Christmas Day, is the turkey. This year, again, we're going to have the two sizes of turkey. We'll have the 1.75 and the 3.5 kilogram turkey. Obviously, for the beginning of the festive fare and when the bookings maybe aren't as busy as they will be near the end, please order the smaller turkeys. Really will help. One, it's quicker to defrost, and two, less wastage. But for the days you know you have large bookings, maybe a Friday, Saturday or Sunday lunchtime leading up to Christmas, or for Christmas Day itself, please order the large turkeys, 3.5 kilograms, so you will use it. Obviously, defrost in the fridge and just need to slice cold on the yellow board using a sharp yellow handle carving knife. So turkeys normally are one of our largest complaints for Christmas Day, the biggest one being it's dried up. How we combat this? So what I used to do is put it in a gastro tray with my portions of turkey, how many I needed, cover it with a thin layer of gravy, cling film, foil, and put it in the oven. Though if you don't have an oven, or for smaller parties, you can do the same process on a tray for a Merrychef, but just don't put the cling film. So thin layer of gravy over the turkey, foil into the Merrychef for 1.5 minutes on 75% power, but that will depend on your Merrychef. Again, those who are lucky enough to have a steamer, put it through the steamer. And for the smaller parties, with maybe a tables of 2s or 3s on a Monday or Tuesday, if you're and when it's quieter, you can pre-portion them into some deli pots and portion pots, covering gravy, cling film or a deli pot lid, put it in the microwave. So really easy for speed of service, but really important you get that thin layer of gravy or it'll just dry out. In terms of potatoes, depending on which ones you have in your business currently, so for the fresh potatoes, you're steaming, part boiling until soft and fluffy, and then just allow the potato to dry. So then you need to, once they're dried, obviously you can either pre-stage this the day before, but into the oven, making sure the oil or goose fat you're using is preheated and it's hot, making sure the potatoes are fully coated. And then obviously if you are hot holding, try not to hot hold for too long, because the quality of the potato does really deteriorate after a certain time. Those using the frozen roast potatoes, the key to this one is preheating the oil or goose fat before coating the potatoes, then obviously turning after about 25 minutes or so, but really make sure the oil or goose fat you're using is hot. So vegetables, obviously sort of the biggest complaint last year was about veg, and we either go one or two ways. We either go really, really rock hard, or the other scale of that, we go to the old, like the OA pensioners veg, and really soft and mushy and with no flavour or colour. If they requested it to be this way, that's a different story. But as a standard, we should be doing really, really good, colourful, vibrant veg. So just to recap on some of the processes, so veg underground should be cooked in cold water, or the process should be started in cold water. Veg from overground should be put straight into boiling water. But the key part to this is making sure that once it is cooked, when the cooking process is finished, is that you're stopping that instantly by putting the veg into ice cold water. This locks in the flavour and all the colour as well. So it's really important that we do this. Once you've finished cooking, straight into ice water, and it stops the veg from cooking. Obviously, once you've done this, you can remove through a colander, make sure you get all the excess water off, and obviously pre-portion after that. So portioning of veg, this is one for I would use in terms of your Christmas Day parties or your large bookings. If you've got large tables and you know you have like 4 tables of 10 at a certain time on a booking, can you do that in a family served dishes? So can you just put 1 bowl of carrots, 1 bowl of sprouts on a table? One, it makes speed of service in the kitchen a lot easier, so they just have that already pre-covered straight into the microwave, or however they're cooking it really quickly. They don't have to take the time from getting the veg onto each plate, and for the guys serving front of house, straight on the table, and it also gives a very good family feel as well, especially for Christmas Day. But for the smaller parties at the start of the festive fair, again, just put them in portion pots like you would do normally on your veg, on your day-to-day menu. So complaints about veg, obviously cold veg is one that really does kill us in terms of food quality, especially over Christmas. So we've got to make sure that it is really served. So it should be the veg, then the gravy, making sure that is hot when it goes on the plate and it leaves the kitchen. If you're plating up and you're putting on the veg first, it's going to really cool down really, really quickly. So serving hot veg is really key for this Christmas. Yorkshire pudding, depending on what ones you're using. So you've got the batter ones, again, for those that have got the facilities. Try and do these in advance if you can. So cook a batch off and freeze them down, put them in your freezer, covered up, labeled how many it's for, how many have you got in there, ready for your big bookings. And obviously regenerating these for frozen Yorkies is sort of just in the Merrychef or in the oven for about 3 minutes. But making sure you aren't overcooking them, that they start getting really hard and the edges start burning. Same goes for pigs and blankets and stuffing. Try and pre-stage as much as you can for Christmas, and especially Christmas Day. Christmas Day should be quite an easy day for the kitchen. You should have everything pre-ordered. You know how many people are coming in at what time, so you can get these things ready to go. Gravy. This is one that we always put on last and should be served piping hot, but obviously make the gravy for those that are making the gravy or the ones that don't have the pouches. Make your gravy to brand spec, but you need to do this little and often, making sure you're not hot holding it for more than 2 hours. There's nothing worse than getting a plate of gravy that's been held for 7-8 hours on a pan. It's gone really thick and lumpy. So making sure we're doing this little and often to make sure the gravy is nice and fresh. Then for your larger parties, and this is key for Christmas Day, traying up your ham and turkey in trays or gastro trays, putting the amount you have in there, the time they're going out, the party it's for. Again, recover with some thin layer of gravy into the oven or Mary Chef or how you're doing it, but making sure you're organised on Christmas Day, especially. You know you've got 40 people having turkey, so have that trade up. There's 40 portions at that time. Really easy to do. So I mentioned vegans earlier about them being quite a vocal group that are sort of affecting the food market quite a lot currently. So if you've got a family of 4 or 5 and one of them in it is a vegan, that vegan will sort of dictate where the rest of the family can eat for Christmas Day and for the festive fair. So if we've got a good vegan options, they're more likely to bring their family to us as well. So for every Christmas menu, the 3 items will be available. Just a maple flavoured root vegetable soup, but that's served with no butter. Vegan main is a beetroot, sweet potato and butternut squash tart, and a vegan dessert is the chocolate and cherry torte. For Christmas Day, there's an alternative for mince pies, and that's a prosecco sorbet. Just run through the specs here. So that's a pre-made in a pouch soup. It's just serve with bread, but please no butter on that for the vegans. This is your beetroot, sweet potato and butternut squash tart. Again, you can do this from defrost and potatoes, but also with a Ponton sauce as well. And dessert wise, it's a chocolate and cherry torte, and that is served with vegan ice cream. So just going to run through the festive ordering guide and a bit about deliveries and sort of how to nail it back at house as well. So the festive food is available to order. I sent out the food order guides last Friday, so a week ago, but I will send out all the information with this presentation and video later on. I'm also going to go through now the Christmas calculator and Survey Monkey, but all this will be sent to you in good time as well. So for those that haven't used the Christmas calculator before in locals, or you're new to the brands, this is really, really a good tool to use, especially for kitchen managers and people in the kitchen. It will help with organization. So simply you'll be sent like an Excel spreadsheet with a list of all your items you put in. For example, you've got, I know, 100 turkeys to do on 2 days over the weekend. It will break down how much turkey you need, how many roast potatoes you need, how much sprouts, etc., etc. So why this is good is for a few reasons. One, it is good for defrosting things from the freezer, giving you a good prep list. But 3, also really good for giving you a good guide to what you need to order. I would really get behind this, guys. So if you're not using it in the kitchen last year and you're new, please use this. It will really make it a lot easier for you, and also give you more time to do other things in the kitchen. Food delivery schedule for the festive period. Again, please can we print this out if you haven't already done so. Print it out, put it in the office or put it in the kitchen so everyone's aware of delivery schedules and how's that being affected over the festive period. So the main ones is the 3 red days are Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. There will be no deliveries on those days. So if you are expecting a delivery, then you will not be getting it, but you need to look at your revised timetable. So please, as I said, go through this with your teams so everyone is well aware. So if you're expecting a delivery to come on a day and it isn't, you need to make sure you have made provisions in your ordering to make sure you have enough food for those days. In terms of pre-ordering your food for Christmas, so Christmas Day, there will be a pre-order sent via Survey Monkey, and that needs to be submitted by the 22nd of November. What I would do is go through the bookings you have obviously already for Christmas Day, but also look in your fridges and in your freezers, and your dry stores to see if you have any items from last year. A lot of these dishes are the same as last year, so you might have some of the sauces or some of the items still there. So really making sure you are checking that and basing it on your pre-order. That sort of ties in nicely with the Christmas stock building slide that I put together. Few notes on here, some really key ones, obviously, like I said, making sure you're checking what you had from last year. There may be some residual stock. You can use it up before ordering your fresh stuff. But also looking at your crockery. If you know you've got a massive day of a massive party coming in on a certain weekend in December, you don't have enough crockery. One, can you order it, or are you able to order it? But you need to do this over a period of time. But maybe you might have to ask to borrow some from another site for that massive party. But checking Christmas Day, what your numbers are going to be. Have you got enough crockery to cover that day? Christmas Day is a really, really key trading day, so we need to make sure we do have the right bits in place for that. In terms of ordering and deliveries, I think for me the key message on this would be don't panic order the first week of the festive fair. So come the 13th of November when we start, I don't want sites ordering enough turkey and enough potatoes, for example, to last them until January, because that's what's happened until Christmas. But what that does, that puts a massive strain on the supply chain. So they have a look at what people have in terms of Christmas bookings, and they base the supply chain will base how much they will have in depot on that. Also, there'll be a bit extra on that, but if people are ordering enough turkey for 6 weeks on one delivery, that has a knock-on effect of that people will run out at the depot, then people will see that and panic buy, and it's just a really vicious circle. So making sure we order little and often, just build it up slowly, it will really help you out in the long run. So stock taking, this is really important. It's a bit with the deliveries as well. I'd get this printed out, making sure anyone that's involved in the stock is well aware of these dates. So I get this on in the Christmas. I get this printed off into the office and in the kitchen. So the week before Christmas, so the Monday the 17th of December, you'll be counting in stock as normal. Week commencing Christmas Eve, so the 24th. You won't be doing a stock on Christmas Eve, so we're giving you that day to get prepared, either in the kitchen or front of house, whoever's doing the stock, to get prepared for Christmas Day and be with your customers and your team. You need to do the stock though that week on Thursday the 27th or Friday the 28th of December. The following week, the week commencing New Year's Eve, you're not doing a stock whatsoever that week. So week 36, there's no stock take required. Week 37, you need to do a stock on the 7th of January. So that will be a 2-week stock. So just to recap, no stock count on the 24th on Christmas Eve, and no stock count on New Year's Eve. So for the Christmas week, you're counting on the 27th and 28th of December, one of those days. And your first stock count after that. It's really important that you aren't doing a stock when you don't need to be. Christmas cook-off, though, I will be putting 2 or 3 buttons on the till for cook-offs, but it just be like the turkey dishes and a couple of the main courses. For those sites that haven't done this before, so you're new to your site and you want to go through it with some of your team members, show about the veg portions or the turkey, they will be on there for a couple of days. I will send out all the information later on. But for those that have already done it, there's not great need to do your Christmas cook-off if your team have done it last year. It's the same dishes. But if you are running Christmas cook-off, those that went to the Christmas roadshow, there's on page 32, there's of your handbook, there is a guide to your Christmas cook-offs. Just to recap before I leave, just want to go through just some finer details. So Christmas, the key to Christmas is being prepared, really. So in the kitchen, that's key in terms of knowing how many parties you have, if you have the pre-order for it, and making sure you've delivered or have the right amount of products into your fridges and freezers to cover that. Can you make your jobs easier in the kitchen by pre-portioning or pre-staging? Of course you can. So turkey wise, have them in trays with the party on. So I know I've got a table of 8, one with the veg and potatoes. It will just make speeding up your service so much easier. Anything that's sort of in boil in a bag, or the beef bourguignon or the turkey gravy in pouches, make sure they're defrosted well in advance and you've got enough spare. We get them in the bain-marie or on a pound of boiling water ready to go. Making sure everything's working in time, so checking if your kitchen got everything you need for Christmas. Is you've got an oven down or fryer down, is everything there working? So checking you're good to go for Christmas. Same goes for the front of house in terms of crockery as well, and sort of decorations. If you've got everything in place ready to go, you'll get all this information sent to you again today, and along with the video. So if people have missed it, they can go and look at this in the future. But to please make sure you aren't doing a food stock when you don't need to be, and that you're ordering little and often. So you are building up, so you aren't doing that panic order of your first week, then your freezer chock-a-block. So that's really bad for your stocks rotation, for you counting the stock, but also puts an extra strain on the supply chain. If you've got any questions, just leave them below. Thanks for your time, and take care. Have a good Christmas. Thank you. Bye.